Sairam, namaste to everyone. I know it has been me avoiding you asking, me always avoiding and saying I have nothing to say, only thank you. And last week, I think, or a few days back, I was meditating, and suddenly, as I'm about to finish, I get this message: be the voice of hope. And I've all along been thinking, what is there to share? It's such a simple, ordinary existence. I don't have big things to say. So what would I say if I go there? But that very day, I think once I heard those words, voice of hope, somewhere my mind knew what I need to speak. Kindly pardon me if it's a little disoriented or lost at times. That's me. So, as far as journey with Sai goes, I think I can say it's a journey of not knowing at all. As a child, I knew my father had a friend who was a follower of Puttaputti Swami, and Vibhuti used to come out in pictures. And when he went to Swami, that he was given something. Something was manifested for him. And as a child, that was like, oh wow, such things also happen, but nothing more than that. I had never been to Shirdi Baba, Puttaputhi Swami. I had never been to a temple of theirs or anything else. I didn't know much. And in 1970, um, I recall Swami visited Delhi. I was 5 years old, but I do remember we went, the whole family went. So my father's elder brother, his wife, their children, everybody went there. And it was so crowded and I was so small that I stood on the bumper of the car and I could see across the tent. I could see him. And I distinctly remember, and I remembered all through my growing up years, every time his name was mentioned, I would just remember one bhajan he sang that day, which was Prem Mudit Manse Kaho Ram Ram Ram. That stayed with me. Um, I got married into a family, and after that, we had no visits or no awareness of what Swami does or what has been happening. In my office, there was a Swami's follower who went and got married. He was an architect. He was a consultant to us, and he went and got married by Swami's choice. He had not met the woman, he had not, and they both just followed what Swami told them. And I was very awestruck. How can one do that? You just decide whom you will marry by listening to your spiritual guide and master and your Bhagwan. Um, Not in a very, I shouldn't use the word appreciative, but I couldn't understand what it was. And now I get married in 1994 to a person whose family comes from Sangamner, a town near Shirdi. His great grandmother had actually seen Sai Baba. His father he was a devotional singer. He used to sing bhajans. And 7 years he has done Hazri in Science Sansthan on Samadhi rivers and days like that. My father-in-law had passed away many years back, so I have no awareness of exactly how much. Those were years when recordings were not done. Um, we had only a video cassette with some singing. So I get married into a family, and first time I went to Sai Baba temple ever in my life to Lodi Road, and I thought, अरे यहाँ तो व्यक्ति पूजा जैसे लग रहा है. That was my first thought when I met Sai Baba in Lodi Road temple. And life was good. It went on. Um After a few years, I had a couple of miscarriages, and my health was not very good. And I didn't really go to any temple or any astrologer or anybody asking what life holds. We had 6 lost pregnancies, which used to just happen, conceive suddenly, lose suddenly within 2 months or so. So that was a time of trauma, some suffering emotionally, physically, both ways. And I distinctly remember this was in 2002, I think. we decided to go for a holiday to Pune, and I went to Lajpat Nagar market to buy gifts for my nieces and the kids in the family, since the family lives in Pune. And there is this Amar Colony market across Lajpat Nagar, and I used to live in east of Kailash. So to go via Amar Colony, I asked the driver to stop the car and just looked around the shops a little. And then I saw a very tiny temple. It's a very small temple. There is the Ram temple and there's a Sai Baba temple. This was noon, there was nobody there. And I just went in and I stood in front of him and I said, "You know everything," kind of a statement, but not asking or anything. And I said, "You know everything, what I'm going through." And there was nobody in that room. It's one room temple. And suddenly the pujari came from somewhere and he gave me a plum. This is like the mythological stories, I feel. He gave me a plum as prasad, and I came out, and it was so sour that I kept thinking, should I keep it under a tree? Should I have it? But somewhere my heart said, this is Baba's prasad. I can't not have it. And it was extremely sour and difficult to eat, but I did. And we went to Pune, and after a week or 10 days or whatever, after a week, I think, we went to the mountains. I was doing everything that I had been told not to do, keeping my health in mind. And we trekked, we walked, uh, we came down, and in Pune, we always go to a temple of Ganpati in Lakshmi Road, which is called the Guru Sheth Halwai's temple. And there is a small Dattatreya temple down the road. We both went for a darshan. I remember I came out of the temple and I said, "Rajesh, can I just buy a pair of flat chappals?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I need to buy a pair of flat chappals." I was in high heels, and I knew my doctor always used to say, "Be as comfortable as possible physically," when I used to conceive. And he asked me, "What are you saying?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pregnant." And we came back home, and it was true. Our son is a blessing of Baba. That is why we believe that. And Dhruv was born, and it was a beautiful life. All these years, somehow my health was a challenge. I was later detected to be having an autoimmune disorder, which had issues of lymph nodes and breathing. So breathing was very difficult for me, and I used to. By the time my detection happened, it had deteriorated to a situation where doctors were worried and my vision was hazy. So I would always see things through a screen of as if there's dust. जो बोलते हैं ना, पीली आंधी आती है, that kind of a vision I had all the time. So it was not an easy existence. I would cook. I love cooking, so I always wanted to do things for the house, my work. Professionally, it was a demanding time. There was a small child. And in 2009 December, I underwent investigations and I was detected with this problem, and my treatment started. And 2010, I think, Swami visited Delhi again. That is an interesting time. I had met Lakshmi before that. Lakshmi, you know her as one of the speakers and a spiritually evolved soul who has been helping in guiding many of us. So Lakshmi used to conduct meditation sessions, and in those sessions, this was before my detection, no, or after my detection. We would sit for meditation. It was a group meditation, and I distinctly remember I kept in my meditation, I kept seeing Swami with raised hands like this and swaying and dancing. And I kept thinking, now I've started hallucinating also. That very day, Lakshmi said, if there are any followers who want to meet Swami, he would be visiting Shimla and Delhi, and you can take passes from me. I didn't, because I felt जो भक्त हैं, जो hardcore भक्त हैं, वो जाएंगे. I was just standing and watching, and I to recall someone coming to me and saying, "Don't you want to go?" I said, "If I'm meant to meet him, I shall meet him anywhere." maybe on the road from the airport or wherever. I'll meet him. So she said, "Are you traveling? Would you be going to the airport?" And I said, "No, I am not, but he would be flying in, I assume. So I'll meet him." And such have been our experiences. We have actually just met the Dalai Lama with nobody around in his temple. We have had sightings of Pope. So my faith was, if I'm meant to meet him, I would. Otherwise, let others have the passes. They are so excited about it, and I knew there are limited passes. To cut a long story short, then one day Lakshmi calls up and says, "There are two passes for you. You go tomorrow morning." Going tomorrow morning meant a lot of rearrangement in the household suddenly, and out of courtesy towards Lakshmi, I said, "No, we must go." So we left 4 in the morning or whatever, and we reached the Sai Sansthan. And I was pretty unwell by then, and I used to fall very often. So I was very scared to be when I was told that women have to stand elsewhere, men stand in another line. Finally, we got in. We had been given a kind of a VIP enclosure pass. So when Swami was coming out, we were sitting on the way, and then there was the congregation, and a lot of people were facing him. We were diagonally behind him, and there also I kept thinking, "ये लोग भक्त लोग आ रहे हैं," so I would leave the chair where I was seated by the ushers, and I would go to a seat in the corner and sit there कि बाकी लोगों को अच्छे दर्शन मिल जाएंगे. But that was not to be. Thrice I was made to go back to that chair. Finally, I sat there. Swami was wheeled in, and he went there, crossed us, and throughout the function, and if I'm not wrong, he left early. He left in the middle of the bhajans. But while he was sitting on the stage, diagonally, I was watching him, and all I could see was that every time, now and then, he was picking a white napkin and putting it to his face. And I could see blood on that napkin. Each time I saw, there was blood on the napkin. And I was so flabbergasted and lost. Why is he bleeding? And across the pandals, why am I seeing blood on his napkins? And again, I thought I'm hallucinating. When he was being taken back, I was not looking at his feet. I was not looking at him. I was looking at two bags hanging on the back of the wheelchair, the handles of the wheelchair, and one had used and stained napkins and one had fresh napkins in it. Later, I was in so much self-doubt that later I even Googled images and just to see that are there bags on his wheelchair hanging like that. I came away very disoriented and almost disappointed, and I said, "वो मुझे क्या ठीक करेंगे? वो तो खुद ही bleed कर रहे थे." The ignorant me, I thought वो तो खुद ही bleed कर रहे थे. Then when I met Lakshmi, she went into a meditation when I told her that this is what I saw. And she said, "You've been shown to understand that when you are hurting, when you are unwell, he's bleeding for you." That was extremely humbling an experience for me. After that, my treatment was going on, and out of the blue, I started getting Sai messages. And in my journey, I have not experienced the two of them separately. They are interwoven for me. So I would sit for meditation, and suddenly I would see Swami's feet on my head, and he's dancing there. And my head had a lot of issues. And I could not come out of that meditation. I remember once after that, I messaged Lakshmi and I said, "This is what's happening to me. He just dances on my head." And she said, "It takes a long time to have such experiences. Feel blessed that he's dancing on your head." I would go for investigations and I would get some messages there. I would come out and there would be a message. I had not subscribed to Sai messages, SMS messages as we call them. They just started coming. And once I had, because of the steroids, there was a lot of discomfort in the eyes, and there used to be periodic every month test for the eyes. I went for my eye checkup. There was a lot of flashes of light which were thrown, and I think because of my sensitivity, I was experiencing it to be more than what it actually was. I came out and I couldn't see very clearly. So I asked my husband, please look into my phone if there's any message from the office or anything. And the message read, the flashes of light in your eyes is my presence. It's me. So somewhere I feel through my difficult days, they were always with me. I didn't know, I didn't realize, I wasn't aware, but the masters were by my side. Um, I do get, I go to the Saikangan temple here in Gurgaon, and there also, time and again, there are small experiences which make you realize, he's there. He's there with you. So, what I wanted to share was this feeling of hope in despair, that when you feel at your lowest, also, when you're hurting, the masters are bleeding for you. They take it all, they say. The last dream I had was the last sharing, I think this is on Jagannath Rath Yatra morning 3 years back. At 4 a.m., I had a dream that there's a lot of crowd. There was a longer story to this, but the crux is that there was a lot of crowd in a house which had a stone wall. Uh, I just knew this is the wall in my husband's old home, which is not there anymore, but in Sangamnir they have a house. And there was a blue colored door with, two doors that open. So the door opens, there's a lot of crowd around, and Sainath comes out of the door. He's not well, he doesn't look well. He's wearing a very dirty kafni with stains on it. And he is held by two men, and he walks slowly out of there. And he gives one amma standing in front of me, Marathi woman, typical Marathi amma. And he calls her and he gives her very large silver discs. And I'm standing and thinking, mujhe kabhi kuch nahi milta. And then he tells me, idhar aao, ikde ye, or something. And I step forward and he gives me a paper which was a folded check. And I knew it's a check. And he tells me, इसके एक एक रुपए करके लोगों में बांट देना. And then he goes and lies down on a cot kept there, drinks some water, and he turns towards the crowd and he tells me, come. And I go closer to him and he holds me close to his chest. So he's lying on a bed in a khatia. I'm sitting on the floor looking up his face, and I distinctly remember the hair of the beard, the face, and I could feel his breath on my face. I truly experienced the breathing, constant breathing, and slowly it stopped. And then everybody cried in my dream, and everybody was like, Baba is gone. And somewhere I felt as if I don't know. That's why I said it's a journey of not knowing. But I felt as if he gave me the breath of life. I don't understand. I don't have any other interpretation of that dream. I don't even want to interpret it. But I do relive that experience again and again, and I feel Sai is breathing into my face. I have written a small thing which I would like to share after these experiences. वो छोटे छोटे ख्वाब मेरे अरमान इन्हीं से बना है मेरा छोटा सा जहान. एक मैं एक तुम एक मैं, क्या अंतर है. एक ही है चाह सबका मंगल हो, सब हो सुखी रहें सौहार्द से, ना करे कोई गलत ना सहे कोई गलत, ना रहे गलत गलत, हो जाए शेष। क्या पता आज हो वो पल जब वो कहे तथास्तु। सो बसे जो मेरे अंतर में, उनसे मैं ये मांगू, सर्वे लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु, भवन्तु सुखिनो समस्त लोका। साई राम।